Kia ora, welcome to Central News. For Wednesday, the 7th of May, I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. From midnight tonight, it will be illegal to sell, supply or possess psychoactive substances, including synthetic cannabis. Parliament passed a law banning the products under urgency last night, and Health Minister Tony Ryall introduced the Psychoactive Substances Bill yesterday, banning the 41 products given interim approval under legislation passed last year. The bill also ensured future potential legal highs could not be tested on animals. Tauranga's homeless are one step closer to having their own shelter thanks to the Tauranga Moana Trust. It's estimated that there's a consistent number of 30 to 40 chronic street homeless all year round in Tauranga. Tauranga Moana Night Shelter Trust Secretary Michael Mills says they've secured a property and the funding to go ahead with the night shelter.
Well, we're really pleased. We have an agreement as a trust for the sale and purchase of a suitable property on the city fringe here in Tauranga. We're hoping that that will all happen in the next couple of months, and that everything going according to plan, we'll have the doors open mid-July.
After more than 50 years providing shelter for travellers under the Mountain of Love, the Te Aroha Youth Hostel has closed. Managed for 28 years by Helen and Danny Young, the Youth Hostels Association, Te Aroha Hostel shut its doors for the last time on April the 30th. The closure marks the end of Te Aroha's only hostel, and YHA Chief Executive Mark Wells said the hostel was no longer financially sustainable, hence its closure. The Te Aroha Youth Hostel property is owned by the Department of Conservation and the building by the Youth Hostel Association. Matamata Piako Council Chief Executive Officer Don McLeod said the local authority would like the wider community to be advised of the closure of the youth hostel and have an opportunity to take on the operation. The council is facilitating a meeting this Thursday through the Te Aroha Business Association of Accommodation Providers in Te Aroha. As the colder winter months creep up on us, a local company is offering a free home evaluation on how to heat your house for less. Sustainability options help those who live with fuel poverty in the Bay of Plenty. Nick Gregg says they offer the service for free and work with many other organisations like the Curtin Bank to try to help those who cannot afford to heat their house.
The best way to do that, Hilary, is give us a call on 07 544 1882. We would love to visit your home and see how we can help you, and then talk about what we're doing for other people. Or you could visit our website, sustainabilityoptions.org.nz.
In sport, Hamilton Boys High School have taken out the Sanix World Rugby Youth Invitational Tournament in Japan for a record third time after a dramatic last-gasp win in the decider. Up against South Africa's Paarl Boys High School in the final on Monday, Hamilton Boys High School were down 10-11 with 2 minutes to play when Viliami Tuipulotu scored in the corner. The tournament comprised 8 Japanese teams and 8 from overseas, 1 each from New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, Canada, England, France, South Korea and Uruguay. It was Hamilton Boys' 4th appearance at the tournament, which began in 2000, and the win goes with their 2010 and 2011 titles. The New Zealand champions have now won 24 games in a row. Staying with sport, and the Central Pulse downed Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic 54-44 in Porirua on Monday night in an error-filled game that led to Magic's second loss of the year. Despite the loss, the Magic remain in second spot on equal points with leaders the Vixens. Taking a look at the marine forecast now. Raglan, a moderate southwest swell becoming heavy for a time on Thursday. High tide, 4:35 a.m. And Tauranga, a nor'west of 15 knots, sea slight with a nor'east swell of 1 metre. High tide in Tauranga, 1:31 a.m. Still to come on Central News, we find out what the legal high bands mean for the councils and discover more about Arbor Day. Welcome back to Central News. Canoe Racing New Zealand recently announced plans to establish a high-performance training centre on the shores of Lake Karapiro. I spoke with Mayor of the Waipa District, Jim Milcreast, to find out what this means for the Waipa District.
It's a fantastic result for the Waipa District. It's building on our elite high performance centre that we've established for Waipa, and it seems to be that once we've established Karapiro and the rowing centre of excellence, or been part of that, of course we didn't fund the whole thing, but provided some of the facilities there, and now with the Avanti Drome and Tri Nations all centring here, we have a nucleus, I suppose, of really professional people and trainers, and that's attracting the athletes, and the athletes and their families are all moving to Cambridge, or a large proportion of them. So it's contributing to the growth of the district, and really setting up the town for an area where we have a huge number of high-performing role models. So that's fantastic for the town.
Now, they join Rowing New Zealand at Lake Karapiro, and also newcomers to the Avanti Drome, Bike New Zealand and Tri New Zealand. Using the word hub to describe the Waipa District also almost seems like an understatement.
Yes, I think it is really. It's for a district the size that we are, it's a fantastic result. And I suppose for a number of years now, council has pushed this as one of our branding. Well, it is our branding image, and it's not only within Cambridge or the surrounds as well. We have an equestrian centre at Kihikihi, which Andrew Nicholson, obviously. The area that he comes from, and his brother John, who's now a national eventing designer for cross-country tracks, I suppose. So we have actively promoted that as our image, so that we can build on that. So it's great.
Now, you mentioned role models, and of course they're so important for young people to look up to, and a lot of young people are involved in sports. Tell me about the Waipa District Youth Awards. They're now in their 12th year?
It really blows me away each year that these awards come up. I've only been the mayor for 6 months, but I was on the board of trustees at Te Amutu College for a number of years, a chairperson there, and the number of students that really perform in a wide range at a very high level is fantastic. But effectively, it's open to 14 to 18-year-olds, and it's taken over the year before the actual awards, so it's what they achieved last year, and in a range of academic, sporting, community leadership. What else have they got? There's 5 different categories, and then there's an overall for a multi-achiever. So it's great for the students to be able to put their names forward for that award.
Friday the 30th of May. Mark it down on your calendar as Arbor Day 2014, and make sure you head along to the planting at Waiwhakareke Natural Heritage Park. This year marks 10 years since the establishment of Waiwhakareke Natural Heritage Park in Hamilton, and 150 years for Hamilton. And the Hamilton City Council have got big plans to celebrate. I spoke with Community Planting Coordinator Gerard Kelly to find out what's been done in the 10 years since Waiwhakareke was established.
It's been quite a bit done, Anne-Marie, actually. The site's about 60 hectares all up. We've got a peat lake in the middle, which is pretty rare in the Waikato region, and we've been planting pretty ferociously for those 10 years. We've actually planted nearly 18 hectares, over 177,000 plants, and most of that's been done by volunteers. We've had some support from the regional council and local WEL for the tracks, so they've supported and sponsored the tracks to be put in to get access, and heaps of help from a lot of people, really.
What's the long-term vision for the park?
The long-term vision for this park is actually to recreate some biodiversity in Hamilton. It is a 150-year celebration this year, but really Hamilton is a bit of an island. It's had quite a bit of a transition from pretty much covered in forest and peat lakes to farmland, and probably the worst destruction in the world considering land clearance. And you wouldn't think that today, but we haven't got a lot of native birds around the city. We've finally got the tuis back, and part of this project is to increase that plant material and create the forests again, and that will spread out through to the city. We've got about, just enough to really start doing that. In the end, we'll have a predator-proof fence around the outside of it. That's one of the project aims. But we've already got birds established here, like the pukekos are starting to take, nesting, and you'll notice now May duck shooting season's coming up, and we'll have a few more ducks visiting, taking refuge. But yeah, it's all growing.
Tell me about the need for volunteers.
Arbor Day, well, we're going to plant 30,000 ecologically sourced native plants, and that's a pretty big challenge. We're going to have, plenty of volunteers coming up to help us, hopefully, and so we're inviting everyone to come along. We're actually asking people to register for that day, just because we're going to have a bit of a barbecue and a celebration at the end, and it'd be nice to know that we're kind of hitting that target around about. We want kind of 3,000 volunteers, and that's just 10 plants each to plant. It makes it easy. It's the old saying, many hands make light work, and if we can get everyone along. And I think the other thing is that message to people that if you're sitting at home and you think you're not able to plant because physically, but you might actually have quite a bit of experience. And we've got a lot of kids coming from the schools and businesses, and that help is really appreciated. So don't feel like you can't come if you're not physically able to plant something. You can probably help with a bit of direction, and we'll find something for you to do, I'm sure. But yeah, lots of volunteers would be great.
To register for the Arbor Day planting, phone Parks and Open Spaces on 07 838 6622. Still to come on Central News, we find out how the Hamilton Zoo is involved with Arbor Day and discover more about New Zealand Music Month. That's next on Central News. Welcome back to Central News. When people think of the Hamilton Zoo, they think of animals, not trees. Yet the zoo is heavily involved with Arbor Day and a huge planting initiative at Waiwhakareke Natural Heritage Park. Hamilton Zoo Education Team Leader explained to me why the zoo is so involved with Arbor Day.
Just because it's right on our doorstep, and we've been involved in having educational talks for the last couple of years, even planting. The zoo staff in 2009 came on board, did a whole lot of planning for Earth Day, so it's really important that we're involved.
Waiwhakareke provides an amazing teaching tool, doesn't it?
It's an absolutely fantastic resource. The potential is limitless with regards to having all this vegetation right around you, the lakefront, the forest margins. It's an absolutely fantastic resource, and it's so close.
The long-term vision for Waiwhakareke is so exciting. Tell me about what we could expect to see in another 10 years.
Honestly, 10 years' time. This year is our 10th anniversary of the first plantings. Already, you've got those trees that are well above your head. In 20 years, in another 10 years, you're going to be walking through. It'll just be like being out in the bush. It will be absolutely incredible. Once the predator-proof fence is up, which is down in the track, then we'll be able to reintroduce lots of native birds back into the site, ones that you might not normally get a chance to see. And the fact that it's will be free for public can come in. It's just like going to places like the gardens and things like that, but much more natural.
Now, you're running an Arbor Day education program. Tell me about that.
It's really an opportunity. The main point of the day is the planting. So getting in the trees, but the educational program at the end is an opportunity for students and teachers to find out a little bit more from a variety of different specialists. So people from Landcare, people from the Department of Conservation, people from NIWA, talking about the potential for this site and things that students can do back at their own homes, back at their schools with regards to conservation. Because that's ultimately, it's about looking after our environment, inspiring conservation action, giving students the opportunity that in the future, hopefully some of their behaviours might be beneficial, and that is all about Arbor Day, planting trees, fostering that encouragement for the future.
How do students and teachers get involved?
It's really, really important we register. We are limited to the numbers and time frame as well too. like I said, the priority has to be the planting. So what we're going to do is have the educational talks once all the planting's finished. So it's really important if are interested in bringing their students that they register, and that is the Hamilton Zoo website, zoo.education.hcc.govt.nz.
To register for the Arbor Day education program, go to hamiltonzoo.co.nz. The month of May is New Zealand Music Month, and when it comes to original rock talent, the Waikato has it in abundance. Hilary spoke with a passionate rock local about a radio show dedicated to the rock of Waikato.
Welcome to the program, Logan.
Hey, thank you.
Now tell me about Waikato Rocks on Free FM.
Hey, Waikato Rocks is a project which we started just about 2 years from now, I guess. This is when I started this show. Actually, the frequency was very small, the Free FM 89, and within a couple of months they went really big, and now the frequency is so high, so long, and so on, and we can reach the radio station even when I'm driving up to Huntly. Yeah, it's got a really wide range. So the Waikato Rocks, the idea came to me because myself being a singer-songwriter for a band for the past 15 years or so. So I'm really always interested in what's going on in the rock scene, especially because my passion for rock music is really awesome. And so what I did was I approached the radio station, and then I said, hey, I know a couple of bands, and there's not many shows in New Zealand where they promote the local artists. So then I decided to contact a few artists over phone and over internet and so on, and then I surprised the radio station guys by bringing about 50 songs. So and then here we are now, and then we started contacting, and at the moment I think we have more than 500 songs from Waikato and the surrounding of Waikato and the rest of New Zealand, and it's growing every day.
That's shocking, isn't it? I mean, you'd think there isn't that I would think that there wouldn't be that much.
Yeah.
Let alone, like bands, let alone that many songs. That is amazing. That's awesome. So, because you guys have actually put together a show, though. So tell me about that.
Yes. Sorry, is this the radio show or?
The TV show.
The TV show. That's right, yeah. So by doing this for about 2 years now, then I thought that I need to take it to the next level. I got to really showcase the talent we have, and on the television, people should be able to watch it. So even though I have the videos and so on, the interviews on the YouTube, but I thought that it's good to bring it to the local people and show the talent we have. And so we are working at the moment. We're working on a 30 minutes episode, and which will be featuring about 5 or 6 videos of the bands and Waikato Rocks, and probably some bits and pieces of rock and roll news from New Zealand and from the rest of the world, and it's going to be really rock on. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Wow, it sounds very interesting. Thank you so much for coming in.
Cheers.
You can listen to Waikato Rocks on Hamilton's Free FM on Monday nights from 9 p.m. Up next on Central News, we find out what does the legal high ban mean for Hamilton City. Welcome back to Central News. From midnight tonight, it will be illegal to sell, supply or possess psychoactive substances. Last week, I spoke with Hamilton City Councillor Angela O'Leary to find out her thoughts on the decision.
I think there's a variety of reasons. It is an election year, so they are more open to listening and responding to the community. And the community, along with the media, have been very strong with their opinions on legal highs. So I think that that's put pressure on the government as well. And also local councils we've all been very upset about the process that this legislation has followed, and we've certainly sent that message very strongly to government, and this is the only sensible outcome in my view that they could have come to.
Do you think the government should have done something sooner?
I think they should have talked to councils sooner. They should have talked to police and to the Ministry of Health right at the beginning of all of this, and we could have taken the time and talked to our communities, and perhaps a lot of the issues wouldn't have arisen. So they should have approached it a lot better than what they did.
What does the withdrawal of sale mean for Hamilton City Council?
Well, we closed all our retail stores anyway as a default of the policy that we adopted. So there's no extra change for our city as a result of the remaining 40 products being pulled from the shelves. But other cities around New Zealand will have, I guess, the same effect of what we've had, which is no longer any stores from next week.
Do you think it's going to drive people underground?
You know, that's an interesting comment, isn't it? Because I believe, there is so much money in this drug, so much money to be made, and we've seen that particularly recently on the media and on news items. So it's already underground, and it's been around for 8 to 10 years. You know, anything with that amount of money, and anything in particular with addiction, of course underground and the gangs are going to be involved. It's not going to drive it underground as a result of pulling the remaining products off the shelves.
Has it made the case for decriminalising marijuana stronger?
Look, I think it has, and it started that conversation again, which seems to come up every general election year. So I guess a lot of people have commented to me, you know, marijuana is, while it's something I guess you can be addicted to, at least you know what's in it. It's a plant. It's not these chemical concoctions that are in synthetic drugs.
What would you like to see happen now?
What I want is for the government to take a pause and to come back and start talking to councils and the communities and of course the health agencies and police so that we can get this law right.
If you'd like further details, go to hcc.gov.nz. Taking a look at the weather now, firstly for the Waikato, Hamilton expects some showers, some heavy, norwesterly winds and a high of 18. Same for Pāroa with 20 your high, overnight low of 8. Matamata 17 and Te Awamutu 18. Tokorua you'll be lucky to get to 15 with a low of 8 overnight. Heading to the Bay of Plenty now, Tauranga expect showers to develop Thursday afternoon with norwesterly winds expected and a high of 19 degrees. Te Puke your high 17 with a low of 10. That's Central News for today. Make sure you like us on our Facebook page. Let us know if there's news or an event in your community. Thanks for joining me. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. Ka kite anō.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.